Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Thursday. It is February 23rd, 2023, 223223. It's kind of fun. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Drinking out of the Martial Arts Radio mug because it is Thursday and we have an episode for you. So we'll talk about that. Got some quotes from Maya Angelou to unpack later. And we're probably going to talk about something that's swirling around in my head. So I'm glad you're here. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Tommy, and whoever else is here. Good morning to all of you, whether you are watching live, later, or listening. Thank you for coming by. It's snowing kind of hard. Most of the schools around me preemptively canceled school. They canceled school the night before. I'll tell you what, that was never a thing that happened when I was a kid. We never had school canceled the night before. We'd get homework and we'd say, come on, it's going to be a snow day. And they'd all say the same thing. You never know. You never know. And so I would be the fool. I think I maybe assumed a snow day once or twice, but I pretty much always stayed up, did my homework like a good boy, and then woke up the next morning watching the crawl across the bottom of the TV. Okay, I can go back to bed now. And my homework's done. Good morning, Dennis, and good morning, Mark. Dennis says, let's rock this pre-Friday snow peeps. Are we snow peeps or are we rocking the pre-Friday snow? Your comment would suggest that we are snow peeps. Are those like Easter peeps? Can you put them in the microwave and watch them do disgusting things? I've never been a big fan of marshmallow, and I don't eat marshmallow now. Reason being, most marshmallow has gelatin. Gelatin is made of beef. I don't eat beef. But back when I did, I thought Peeps were the grossest thing ever. The texture? Ugh. Good morning, Brian. Brian says, be safe if traveling. Yes, if you are traveling and you are in this, I hope you are safe. There's a good chance I don't leave the house today. We'll see. It's not like I can't. I'm perfectly capable. My vehicles are capable. But we have a team meeting tonight. And I've got a whole pile of other meetings going on today. And I was going to go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting tonight. There's a mixer, but I'm going to guess it's going to be canceled. Tommy says he's not a Candy Peeps fan either. It's a texture thing. Brian, in all caps, I love Peeps. Dennis is a fan of marshmallows and hot chocolate. That's pretty much the only time I really enjoyed them growing up. Yeah. But hey. Kelly says there's a myth my kids used to do. Apparently, if you wear your pajamas inside out and put a spoon under your pillow, it'll cause a snow day. You know, that sounds vaguely familiar. I wonder if that was around when I was a kid. I don't think so. Because I would have done just about anything. I remember one year alone. So my birthday is June 8th. And one year we had our final day of school before my birthday. We ended on June 6th. It happened once. That's how memorable it was. But more often than not, the school district was petitioning the state to allow us to end school before the requisite number of days because we had so many snow days. I distinctly remember going to school into June 20th multiple times. So it is Thursday, and we do have a new episode, and let me see if it's out. I hope it is. Okay. My phone really needs to stop doing this. It's quite annoying. My phone's ability to have Twitch going and then open YouTube, it really kind of freaks out. No. Come on. Come on. There we go. Nope, you're still being grumpy. Okay. Well, then guess what? We're closing Twitch. I guess we won't record that number. Library, your videos. Oh, it's today. Okay. Possibly one of the coolest episodes we have ever done. If you're someone who looks at the time on an episode, you might look at this and go, what is happening? 1 hour, 30 minutes, and if I remember correctly, 56 seconds. This is our first ever, what we're calling a mini documentary. So here's what happened a while ago, like a year ago. Good morning, Jenny. Andrew comes to me and he says, so I started listening to this new martial arts podcast and I really like it. It's a couple folks in England and one of them is an instructor to the other. And I've had a lot of fun watching it or listening to it. And I don't remember if this was his idea or a collaborative idea, but we get to this idea of, she's getting ready to test for her black belt. What if we interview her beforehand? Well, that idea escalated. And what we have is a mini documentary of Sue Roberts before, during, after her black belt test. We talk about what she's concerned about. We talk about, I talked to her 3 times. So I think it was a few months before, like a week before and a couple weeks after. We also have some footage from one of her instructors who was on the show. His episode's already aired. We didn't make a big thing out of that. Or I shouldn't say that. We did not mention in that episode that we were doing this with one of his students. And we've got some footage from her test, and it's a lot of fun. If you haven't tested ever, this will give you an idea of the emotion that comes through. But most of you have tested for your black belt. And I think it's going to bring you back. And I think you're really going to identify with it. Now, this was a lot of work. So if this does well, we will do more of them. If it does not do well, we will not do more of them, at least not for a while. Jenny says, I'm absolutely looking forward to this episode. Kelly says, now that I'm driving again, I finally heard Amazing Gad's episode. Thank you for sharing, Gad. It was a good episode. I'm pumped about this, right? Because we're constantly looking at how do we do stuff a little bit differently. When we do the word association episodes, we're doing that because I'm not aware of anybody else on a podcast doing that. We're constantly trying to bring you new and different to see what you enjoy. Dennis says from yesterday, and by all means, I want to hear what you all did yesterday and what you've got going on today. Dennis says, had a blast training virtually with Matt and Jenny Nather last night. Superfoot was there too, so that was cool. I'm glad you guys are doing that. I'm glad you had fun. Yeah, so check that out. Of course, there's an audio version, but maybe this is one you want to do some video because we have actual footage of her doing stuff in here. All right, what else? What did I do yesterday? So yesterday, I did a bunch of stuff here, and then one of my clients was having some technical problems, so went up and we had the meeting that we normally had, but we had it in person and worked through some internet connectivity issues, which ended up being on Comcast's end. And then I went and I hung out at the local Panera, had a cup of tea, and worked through the first draft of the conversion from the Flex program, as it is, to an email series. And it's good. I think it needs some adjustment. And I posted that on Facebook yesterday. I'm looking for a few people to look this over, especially if you've gone through Flex. It's going to work, but I'm trying to keep the time down. That seems to be one of the big things that people like about the 10-minute format, is that it's something everybody can do. Flex, as it was written in the original program, is 15 to 20. So I'm cutting out half the stuff. How do you get close to the same results with half the time? Ugh. And so this is my dilemma as I work through that. Kelly said, I tried to take my name off the testing list for black belt testing, which is something I would often do. Started walking up to my instructor after class when he announced he was testing. He looked at me and put up his hand and said, no, I don't want to hear it. You're testing. Go away. I love it. Dennis says, just over here giving Twitch some first cup love. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that. So today I got a bunch of calls, meetings, new client, new martial arts school client. We had a call while I was in Mexico, and it went well. And we talked a little bit last week. And I said, you want to do this? He said, yeah, let's do this. So I'm pumped for that. Love working with martial arts schools. What else? Yeah, with the snow and everything, it's probably going to be a lighter day. Kelly says, maybe people are okay with 15 to 20 minutes. Could do a survey. I've been doing surveys. One of the big things that came out of the 30-day challenge, one of the questions, and those of you who did not fill out the survey, you can still fill out the survey. You can dig up that email, or if you don't have it, I can send it to you. But if you did 30-day challenge, you know that in one of the bonus emails, I asked you to fill out a quick survey. And one of the things was, what did you think of the 10-minute format? And most people said it was just right. In fact, I think everyone has said it was just right. So I've got to be careful, because I know that the more time I ask of people, the less likely they are to do it. And if they don't do it, then they're not going to get any results. And part of the reason we have 30-day challenge and now Flex as email is because I want to get people to see what we do and the impact that we can make with our programming, and then they will buy a program. So they've got to be successful with it. And to be successful, they got to do it. So I'd rather catch more people with these. And then maybe with some of the other programs, we do 15. Thank you, Mark. Mark says, and we love working with you. Jenny says, you guys are getting snow. We're going to see a high of 73. Really? Wow. Huh. That's crazy. Enjoy. All right. Let's switch gears. Yeah, let's switch gears and take a look at these quotes that Frank sent over from Maya Angelou. You're probably going to recognize at least one of these. I'll venture. And thank you to Frank for all that you do. Thank you to Josh for our theme song. Thank you to Denise for the audio. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. How many of you have someone out there that you don't like and you don't remember why? How many of you have a friend that you've had forever and you don't remember how you became friends? Same idea. Jenny says this is one of her favorite quotes. See, I knew some of you would recognize this. Tommy says 10 to 15 is kind of perfect add-on for me. I'm sure that's a large boat too. It is. It is. If I said 8 minutes, nobody can look at 8 minutes and say, I don't have 8 minutes. You get to 10, they have 10 minutes. You get to 15, that's where people start tapping out. If I said 30 minutes, we're going to miss a lot of people. 30 minutes a day. 10 minutes is something you can do in between things. things. Or you can wake up 10 minutes early, go to bed 10 minutes late. It's not going to make a big difference. 20, 30, 45, 60 minutes makes a difference. What's next? You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. Please remember that your difficulties do not define you. They simply strengthen your ability to overcome. It's kind of like that Jim Rohn quote we had, was it earlier this week, end of last week? Don't wish for an easy life, wish to be stronger. Your difficulties do not define you. Our identity is not our circumstances. You can allow it to be, but it's not. Our identity is not our body. If I chop off your leg, aren't you still you? Maybe I can't chop off both legs, both arms, and have you live, but I could chop off any of them and you would still be you. You're more than your circumstances. You're more than your difficulties. You're more than your physical being. And until we recognize that, we tend to get bogged down in a lot of stuff that doesn't matter as much. I keep going back to, this was a couple months ago at this point. I posted something on Facebook. And what was the premise with it? What's standing in your way of reaching your goals? Something to that effect. And the sheer number of people who strongly identified with some element of their circumstance that they were convinced was immovable blew my mind. Maybe it shouldn't have, but I guess I've generally been optimistic about people. We think we can't, so we can't. Remember that in order to do anything, we have to first believe that we can. It does not matter what it is. I do not know of any worthwhile accomplishment that occurred when someone did not believe it was possible. Maybe they were skeptical. Maybe they thought it was unlikely. But if they thought it was impossible, it didn't happen. So what's the first step to achieving anything? Believing that it is possible. And if you don't believe that it's possible, you have to find a way to believe. This is why, we have all these cliche examples of, superhuman feats of strength when the need was there. The baby's under the car and mom picked it up. Which I don't think that ever really happened, because why would you not just crawl under the car and get the baby? What do I know? But we all look at that example and say, oh, I could see that happening. Why? Because she believed she could, because she had to. If you have to, you can. Saying that you have to do something means that you believe it is possible and now necessary. And for a lot of us, that's the point where we actually take action, when we have to do something. I've got a friend who used to drink a lot, and in his 20s, the doctor told him, your liver is going to fail. You have to stop drinking. Hasn't had a drink since. Actually, that's not entirely true. When we were last together, they did not bring him the virgin drink that they were supposed to. And he tasted it and he's like, this tastes funny. Try it. I was like, yeah, there's booze in there. Whoops. Jenny says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Yep. And this is an element of martial arts training that I wish we were a little more direct with. It happens. It occurs innately in our training. Because we start and we look at higher ranks. We're like, I'm never going to be able to do that. But we keep going because on some level we understand Even though I can't see the path, I know there is one. And then eventually you move forward. And it's slow and it's steady. It's these tiny little steps. And eventually you get there, unless you stop. Be honest with yourself about the things that you want to do. And not only are they possible, but make them likely. How do you make them happen? You don't make them happen sitting on the couch watching TV. And the last quote from Maya Angelou. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. You know, that would make a great whistle kick shirt. I really like that quote. I may mock something up with that. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. I believe most of us do the best that we can. Overall, maybe not on every individual thing. But it doesn't mean we can't do better. You know, there's something that I read about this yesterday, and it makes a lot of sense. And so I experimented with it a little bit this morning. And this is one of those things that if we do a second 12 months to health would likely get in there. Oh, by the way, I am down to, I saw 66 degrees on the shower thermometer this morning. And even down to 75 degrees doesn't bother me. It's a little cool. And when it first gets there, I'm like, oh, it's not a big deal anymore. It's taken me a while to get there. This has been months, but so what? Here's the thing I was reading. It was about your phone and when you wake up. The premise being that if you look at your phone first thing in the morning, you're conditioning your body to go back to your phone for dopamine throughout the day. That because it's the first source of dopamine you get, your body conditions to it that it wants it. And so I vowed when I woke up this morning, I was not going to look at anything on my phone for 15 minutes. And one of the things I do is meditation. There's a guided meditation on my phone. So I ignored any of the other stuff that came in overnight. I did not look at TikTok or anything. And I just put my earbuds in. I sat on the couch and I meditated. And so by the time I was done with that, it was 25 minutes after I'd woken up. So no dopamine coming off my phone. And I'll tell you what, getting ready for the day, getting ready for this show, I was 5 to 8 minutes earlier than normal because I didn't get lost in my phone. I think there's something to this because if you've read 12 Months to Health, we talk about it in terms of food. Start your day with fat. If you start your day with carbs, your body's going to be wanting carbs all day. And it makes me suspect there's something about sleep that's more than rest, that it's a reset. And I was thinking about this morning. We rarely say, oh, this has been a bad month or a bad week, but we will say it's a bad day. It's a good day. We tend to recognize that the way a day starts is the way it goes, right? The way, once a day gets good, it remains good, or it gets bad, it remains bad. And we don't easily change from good to bad or bad to good through a day. So I would love for some of you to experiment with this and let me know what you find. Jenny says she'd wear a shirt with that quote. Cool. And she follows up. Maya Angelou is a pretty amazing person. I haven't heard a quote from her that doesn't resonate with me in some way. And she says, I use do not disturb settings that hide my notifications until I'm ready. I like that. That's great. And And Dennis says, goodness, I go hours every day without looking at this thing. I refuse to become a phone zombie. Good. Don't be a phone zombie. All right. It's time. Go check out this documentary, this mini doc that we put together with Sue Roberts. And I really would appreciate some honest feedback from you all. It's unlike anything we've done. And if you like it, maybe we'll do more. If you want to support us, you got all kinds of ways to do that. You can join the Patreon. It starts at $2 a month. Most of you are in there, and I appreciate you for doing that. What else? You can make a purchase using the code FirstCouple15. Like one of the wonderful shirts we have, or one of the wonderful shirts we have in the future. There will always be more wonderful shirts. And if you want the full list, go to the family page, whistlekick.com/family. We give you behind the scenes stuff, fun stuff, as well as the entire list of all the things you can do to help us out. If you are part of our mission, if you are family, if you do want to connect, educate, and entertain the traditional martial artists of the world on the way to bettering it by having everyone train for at least 6 months. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you're somewhere where it's snowing, good luck. Take care, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.